In many rural areas of Japan, people still quietly warn one another that there are certain old wells one should never stare into for too long, not because they are dangerous in a physical sense, but because there are things beneath the surface that do not wish to be forgotten. Among the most unsettling stories connected to these wells is the legend of the long-haired woman in the ancient well. No one knows exactly when this story began. It does not appear in historical records or religious texts. Instead, it survives through whispered conversations, late-night stories, and warnings passed down from elders to children. What makes it especially disturbing is that while details vary from region to region, the central image remains the same: a woman with long black hair covering her face, appearing at the edge of a well or rising silently from its depths. According to the legend, these wells are often located in remote places, near abandoned shrines, old houses no one lives in anymore, or sometimes right in the center of a village, long since sealed off and forgotten. During the day, the well appears ordinary. The water is still, reflecting the sky above. But at night, especially when the moon is dim or absent, the well becomes something else entirely. The air around it feels colder. The silence feels heavier, and there is an unsettling sense that someone is watching from below. The long-haired woman does not appear immediately. First, there are sounds: the faint movement of water when there is no wind, the soft brushing of hair against stone, a quiet breath that feels far too close. Those who lean over the well see their own reflection staring back at them, but sometimes the reflection does not look quite right. Behind their mirrored image, a dark shape may appear, like strands of hair drifting beneath the surface. In many versions of the story, if you stare into the well for too long, a face slowly emerges from the darkness below. The face is pale and expressionless. The eyes are wide open, staring upward without blinking. Long black hair hides most of the features, revealing only the eyes and part of the forehead. What terrifies people is not her appearance, but the strange sense of familiarity, as if they have seen her before, or as if she is not simply looking up, but looking directly at them. People believe that the long-haired woman is the spirit of a woman who died in connection with the well. Some versions say she was pushed into it after being accused of a crime she did not commit. Others claim she threw herself in, driven by despair, betrayal, or abandonment. Regardless of the cause, her death is always tied to silence, secrecy, and injustice. The well, once a source of water and life, becomes a place where truth is buried. What makes the legend especially haunting is that the woman rarely attacks. She does not grab victims or drag them into the well. She does not scream or threaten. She only watches. Her gaze is described as heavy, sorrowful, and persistent. After encountering her, many people report recurring dreams of wells, long black hair wrapping around their wrists, or hearing their name whispered at night, even when the house is completely silent. In darker versions of the story, those who encounter the woman become increasingly obsessed. They find themselves returning to the well again and again without knowing why. Sleep becomes difficult. Light feels uncomfortable. Some feel as though someone is standing behind them when they look into a mirror. Long hair becomes a recurring image in their dreams, like an invisible thread pulling them toward the depths of the well. Cultural scholars suggest that the image of the long-haired woman in the well combines several ancient fears. Wells symbolize depth, the unconscious, and things that are hidden away. Long hair in Japanese and East Asian culture is often associated with women, suppressed emotion, and loss of control. When these symbols merge, they form a powerful image of pain that has been buried but refuses to fade. From a psychological perspective, the long-haired woman can be understood as a manifestation of collective memory, especially the memory of forgotten individuals, often women, whose suffering was ignored or erased. In traditional societies, many stories went untold, many voices were silenced. The well becomes a container for those unresolved narratives. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of the legend is repetition. The woman does not leave the well. She does not seek revenge. She waits, not to punish, but to be seen. In some versions, if a living person speaks her name correctly, or acknowledges her existence and suffering, she disappears, leaving the surface of the water calm and undisturbed. In modern culture, the image of the long-haired woman in an ancient well has strongly influenced Japanese horror films and literature. However, the original folklore focuses less on sudden fear and more on lingering unease. The horror lies in silence, in the awareness that certain truths cannot remain buried forever. Ultimately, the story of the long-haired woman in the ancient well is not simply a ghost tale meant to frighten. It is a reminder that the past, especially unresolved injustice, always finds a way to return. Wells can be sealed, forgotten places can be demolished, but memory remains. And sometimes, the most terrifying thing is not what looks up from the darkness below, but the truth we have chosen not to see.